Welcome to the very first episode of India and Stuff without video. I look pretty fugly today, so I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get on my video camera today and do this episode, especially because this is such a fun one. This is also the first episode where I talk more about my photography work. And I asked about getting responses from people. I put a poll up there on my Instagram story and I emailed it out to a lot of you. So if you responded to that poll and you put your feedback out there, I'm going to be talking about that today. So this is the first listener feedback episode, first non-video episode, and the first one where I kind of dive into a little more of my actual work, what I do for a living, which is wedding photography. So this is a fun episode. I hope you guys enjoy it today. I am cuddled up in my office with a blanket and a glass of wine. So hopefully it's a really enjoyable time for you wherever you are listening to this episode at. So let's play the theme song and jump in. All right, let me take a little sippy of this wine. It's super cheap and it's like 4 days old, but we love to see it. So I'm recording this literally on a Tuesday night, the day that this episode is supposed to drop. So hopefully I get this up here pretty soon. But really fast, guys, I wanted to chat about the eclipse. Oh my word. So if you're listening to this in real time, by the time this episode is out, it'll be Tuesday night, April 9th. And the eclipse I'm referring to is obviously on Monday, April 8th. Holy heck, guys, I didn't care about it because there was an eclipse back in 2017 when I was in college, and I was at Columbus, Ohio for college. So when the eclipse happened, we all came out of our classrooms, we put on our glasses and we looked up, but it wasn't totality and we weren't in the path of totality or anything. So it was just a little thing and it was kind of cloudy. So it wasn't a big deal at all. So in my head, I was like, why is everyone making a big deal about this? It's going to be the same exact thing. It's going to be a little disappointing, but my aunt lives in Cleveland and my little brother loves science and loves engineering and NASA. And we heard that NASA was hosting an official watch party up in Cleveland at this park. So we were like, let's go up there. And he really needed a ride. So I was like, all right, fine. I'm self-employed. I can be flexible with my schedule. Let's go to Cleveland, visit the aunt, have a lot of fun, and watch the eclipse. And I'm so glad that we did because it was honestly life-changing. I don't even say that lightly. I was not expecting it to be that cool. I was not expecting to feel the Lord's presence in such a real, undeniable way of holy crap, God is so in control. He could just turn the lights off at any point. And also just what are the astronomical odds that the moon is the exact shape and it lined up exactly on the right path in front of the sun to completely block out and create a twilight moment for people to be united. There's almost nothing left on this planet that unites people anymore. And this was just one of those pure moments where it felt like I was standing in a field with 3,000 people and everyone's just in awe and nothing else is going on. We're all silent. We're just jaw to the grass watching this amazing, scientific thing unfold in front of our eyes. So definitely glad I got to do that with my brother and my aunt. It was a once in a lifetime thing for sure. And I'm so glad I got to experience it with them. So anyway, I wonder just if you're listening, was anyone else in the path of totality? I know a lot of people in Ohio were getting close to it or in partial coverage, but I know it kind of had an interesting path over Texas, a little bit of the West, and then kind of through the Midwest, through Indianapolis and Ohio and Canada. So if that was you and you got to witness that, wow, let me know in the show notes or the comments what your thoughts were, because I was stunned and I was so glad I got to go. and do it with the public, like with this whole NASA event. It was fun. We got to talk to one of the scientists, and there was the parks department there of the national parks, and we got to learn about rocks, and they let us touch this like meteorite thing. So it was very cool to have that communal experience. But I know for most people who were just like at home, they were like, oh, it got a little dark. That's neat, you know? And I know some of my friends were like, yeah, I just like didn't even have the glasses. So I just kind of like watched it get dark. And I was like, no, 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 no. Like you had to have done the whole shebang. Like, you know, be there, learn about it, put the glasses on, watch it get closer to happening, take the glasses off, watch everyone like freak out. You know, I was praying to Jesus. It was awesome. So I hope you guys all enjoyed that if you got to witness that eclipse. I guess there's going to be another one at some point in our lifetime, in North America at least. So stay in tune for that, but it'll be a while. But anyway, today is not an episode about science or the eclipse. Today is all about wedding trend predictions for this year, for 2024. So it's April. It's still kind of early in the year. So I figured I wanted to get this out there before the wedding season really kicks off. But in actuality, my wedding season already started in February, and I've already technically, like, my company's done 5 weddings already, which is very crazy this early on in the year. This time last year, I hadn't even shot my first one yet. So it's a very full year for me. I think I've mentioned that before. I think I've got about 33 weddings on the books, maybe 34, for 2024, which is just very unique for my business to kind of be in this new season of growth. So I'm very grateful for all that awesome work and to be able to work with all these amazing couples, because that's genuinely my favorite part about wedding photography, is just loving on couples, capturing their moments and celebrating with them. It's such a treat. So, but yeah, I wanted to do this episode to kind of throw out some wedding trend predictions. Obviously, I've been doing wedding photography for over 11 years at this point, so I have seen so much, especially in Ohio. I've gone from like barn weddings, country vibes, you know, I've seen kegs and mullets, and I've seen neon camo, to now I'm kind of inching into more of a demi-luxury space. So we're seeing like, you know, high-end champagne towers and vintage cars and multi-wedding day celebrations and not international yet, but destination weddings and really fancy kind of formal events. So I've definitely seen a lot, and I always keep my finger on the pulse with social media as far as like just kind of seeing what people post, what couples seem to like, what they're drawing inspiration from. So I thought it'd be fun to do this prediction episode, and then at the end of the year, or maybe early 2025, I'll do another podcast and kind of see how many of these I got right. But I tried also to stay away from things that I already see trending now, and just go for like things that I hope will trend in the future. So without further ado, let's jump into my predictions, and then I will read the submission predictions at the end. So let's do it. Okay, so the first prediction on my list for weddings this year is iridescent and opal accents. And I mean specifically, I think we're already seeing this a lot in the Hailey Bieber glazed donut nails. A lot of girls are getting that for their like bridal nail, which I love. But I'm thinking more invitation suite, or as far as the actual color palette of the wedding. I think using glossy or textured paper for the invitation suite it might be on the rise this year, as well as using shells or opal kind of coated jewelry. I think a lot of those natural textures are kind of on the rise, and I really have seen a lot of those iridescent looks for bridal makeup and, like I mentioned, nails or shoes. So I think we're going to see some more of that coming into the actual wedding color palette, which I love. I think it's very like classy and still modern and feels kind of futuristic without being cheesy. Okay, another one I think we're going to see more of are lilac and like bluey purple colors, and specifically flowers. I love these colors anyway. I've kind of always loved that periwinkle blue or like a cobalt blue, but it's not really always been a trend for weddings. I think we've kind of seen, you know, the white and champagne and dusty rose. That was a huge one with like silver dollar eucalyptus. That was a huge trend in like, the 2010s. We've seen like the yellow and gray wedding scheme. We've seen a lot of baby blues. But then I think more recently we've seen a lot of the like rust color and sunset and western palette, at least where I live, right? This is all based on my context. Um, but I try to think of like the past 5 years, the main colors I've seen the most of. And I think I'm not so sure about wedding dresses being that color, but I do think a lot of the tablescapes, candles, and florals being, white, neutral, but then pops of periwinkle and cobalt blue and lilac. I think that cooler color palette is going to make a comeback in conjunction with some really modern twists. It's not going to be like every single dress is this bright purpley blue, but I think it's going to be a really subtle way. And then maybe the dresses are all cream, or maybe they're all black or something. But I think that color scheme is on the rise, and I really want to see more of it this year. Okay, so another one that I'm already noting and seeing it everywhere in styled shoots, but I haven't seen a ton of people do this for their actual wedding. Vintage cakes, and specifically small vintage cakes. So like little cakes with white, you know, it reminds me of those socks that girls used to wear like as a kid with the little like lacy edges. It's got that frilliness to it, but it's like a small white cake in the shape of a heart. Or my husband and I just modeled for a styled shoot last week, and it was this green, yellow, and red vintage inspired cake with cherries on top. So I think we're going to see some more of those things just because of TikTok and Instagram and the way things start to trend. Once you start seeing photographers share styled shoots, everyone getting married doesn't know that that's a styled shoot. So sometimes that is what takes off, right? And that's the thing that becomes the new wedding trend. Once they've seen it, they love it, and they keep going with it. So I feel like that's going to be on the rise, as well as just something I've noticed. I feel like really, really huge wedding cakes used to be very traditional and very common. And in the last couple years, I think I've noticed the cakes getting smaller and smaller, and people are now opting for like dessert tables, Youngstown cookie tables, Pittsburgh cookie tables, or more miniaturized options like little mini cheesecakes or pies or macaroons or something like that. And I really personally love that trend because it's such a money saver. And then you get more variety for people with dietary restrictions, or just people who want a little bit more than like maybe cake's not their thing. I think that's a really cool way to like save some money and love on your guests, is like diversify the desserts, everybody. So I think that's going to continue. Okay, another wedding trend prediction is more old money and classic dress silhouettes as opposed to ornate and over the top. And I think we've already noticed this trend starting to rise, but I think this year will continue in like, if you think of Sophia Richie's wedding, which was a really viral one last year, very classic colors, very simple to the eye, but still felt very ornate. And I just had a call with a potential client last week, and they were like, yeah, we're nervous. We booked this fancy venue. We're just a little nervous about the money. And I was like, you know what? I totally feel that, because the economy is insane and you want this awesome wedding, but like, you want it to still look nice. So you book the fancy venue, but now you have to like fill the fancy venue with fancy flowers and, a show-stopping dress. And I think you can kind of just set all that aside and go, the atmosphere will be filled with the people that are involved. And so if we can keep like the venue can be what it is, we can keep the decor pretty minimum and it will still be breathtaking. Like simple tablescapes, like you can do black and white and cream linens. You can do simple taper candles and, baby's breath or white roses or just greenery. And that can cut down your cost a lot from adding all this extra color or exuberant flat lays or exuberant decor. So I think when you're thinking that way of, hey, like, let's let the venue, the guests, and some of this decor kind of speak for itself, the dress can also be simple and stunning. Like, I think so many brides are going, oh, I don't need this whole like giant princess gown. Like, I can just wear something that's a little more understated, but still really classy or really elegant. So I think we're going to see more of that as well. So the next wedding trend prediction is wedding weeks and weekends. Okay, so this is a personal story. One of my friends a couple years ago got married, and I was part of the bridal party, and she did her whole wedding extravaganza, bridal party, bachelorette party, everything out in Yosemite. And honestly, it was fantastic. It was so freaking fun. And it was like, you want to go on a trip like that anyway. Why not go with a group of friends? You're sharing the lodging cost. It's going to be so much less expensive than if you were to like book an Airbnb, and so much cooler of a place to stay. And then because it was kind of all mushed together, I think we all got out there on a Wednesday and did like a welcome barbecue to meet everybody. And then we did like a hiking day on a Thursday. And then did the bachelor bachelorette party, like a big, huge game of tag or something, or I don't know. It was just like so fun. And then we did yoga together and tied flower bouquets, and then got ready and like set up the stuff for the wedding, and then had the wedding. It was just awesome, and I feel like she's ahead of her time with that one. But I think people are getting more keen to that idea of doing like a longer celebration with people instead of like multiple celebrations over a year's worth of time. And if you think about it, it kind of requires the same amount, if not more, money and time from your friends and family to say, hey, I'm going to do a bachelorette party for, 4 days on this week. And then a couple months later, we're doing a bridal shower. You got to give me a gift, and we're going to go on this day. And then the wedding weekend, and we're going to do the rehearsal dinner, and then we're going to do the actual wedding. You know what I mean? So, like, I think a lot of times people think guests or bridal parties won't want to spend that much or commit that much time to do like a wedding weekend getaway. But I think that's actually like, I don't know. I think you have to like, assess your own group. But I think that might be something that's changing as people are like, yeah, actually, I would rather take off 3 vacation days total or even 2 vacation days total and celebrate you and have this unforgettable, like extended weekend memory versus, all throughout the year have to like fly somewhere or invest in something that feels a little more disjointed. So I really, really hope that the wedding trend I want to see is more wedding weeks and weekend getaways with the people that they love. Because also, if we could redo everything, I think we would do that. Just take our friends, our closest people, and be like, we're out of here. Like, come with us. Let's make this memory. How cool is that? Okay. So another prediction. I think it's going to be intentional groom looks or experimental groom looks. I think obviously the wedding planning, I work with so many amazing couples, but most of the time it's the bride that's my main contact. And most of the time the focus is on the bride. It's on what's her dress going to be like and how she decided everything was going to look and how, she coordinated this. And a lot of the times the grooms kind of get left in the dust. And not to say that they don't contribute to the plans, but I would say stereotypically it's not as much, or at least it's overlooked when it comes to the like recap of the day. It's like, oh, didn't the bride do such a good job? I don't know where that's rooted in, actually. I think that's a little of a dated assumption, or comes from some older mindset of like, this is the woman's last big showing of who she is, and then she's just like a wife. I don't know, maybe there's some patriarchy we have to discuss there. But I really think grooms getting more experimental with their looks, thinking like Timothy Chalamet, Childish Gambino, Harry Styles, like some of these cool celebrities we've seen have these moments on their runway with different suit cuts, or even adding, coattails or dresses or kilts. I think we could see a rise of grooms getting more experimental with their looks. And I think I am totally here for it. Okay, so another trend prediction would be less formal bridal party attire. I would like, and by that I mean more mismatched bridesmaids dresses, more mismatched suits and ties. I think people are moving away from this idea of everyone has to be uniform and have this, same cut of every single dress, same color. And we've already noticed that it's for the last couple years the trend has kind of been same color, different cut for the girls, and then same exact suit for the guys. And I think moving forward, at least I hope moving forward, we'll see a little more flexibility with that. Maybe some different patterns on different bridesmaids' dresses, different colors altogether. Maybe the guys are going to have the same slacks and suit coats, but different ties or different floral arrangements for each guy. I don't know. I think we could see some creative takes on this, and I'm excited to see what comes of it. Okay, I'm also predicting that there will be less sparkler exits and more rice tosses. Also, I'll put confetti tosses in there too, like biodegradable confetti or dried florals. But I think people like that traditional feel, and the sparkler exits are still a lot of fun. But I've been sensing with my own couples, a lot of them aren't sure how many guests are going to stick around to the end of the night. So they're more like, let's do a rice toss after the ceremony or entering the reception instead of wait around till midnight when the party's almost over and there's just like a dozen people left. So I think people are going to kind of start doing those exit the ceremony and have this kind of fun traditional moment with rice toss or something like that. So one quick note on that, if you are planning to do a rice toss or a sparkler exit, or any kind of tossing of anything, double check with your venue on what their rules are. You don't want to leave behind, plastic confetti that could hurt the ecosystem, or sparkler exits, which could, in some, locations like in the West, start a fire, or even rice sometimes is banned because it's coated with different chemicals depending on what you buy, and it could choke the birds. So be careful with whatever you're tossing in the air and make sure you double check with your venue on what's allowed. Okay, another prediction, more family style setups and long reception tables. I personally love this. I think it's really fun when you see those styled shoots out in Joshua Tree or in Mojave, like in the desert. They'll do these gorgeous, long, and sometimes curvy, like tablescapes. Oh, they're so pretty. Would love to shoot a wedding out west, by the way. I have one this year on the books, but hey, if you are listening and you're getting married in anywhere west of Mississippi, call me. But I think those are so pretty for a couple reasons. One, when you are at a circular table, you're limited to talking to exactly who is adjacent from you. You may not know them at all. And of course, the reception is about the couple, but you're going to have about an hour of eating dinner and making small talk. So you'll start to get to know them. But the longer tables, you've got a little more of an option. You've got the people kind of directly around you, but it also just feels the sense of family. And I think it's a better setup than the circular tables for new people chatting, because it's just this idea of like, we're all in this together. We're all at this longer connected table. You can pass the food around more easily, pass things down. I don't know. It just feels more central. And especially if you are close with the couple, it feels like you're connected to them because they're just at the head of the table instead of being off in the distance at like a sweetheart table or something. So I think that's one of the cooler ways to set up a reception space. Obviously, not every venue has that capacity, but for the ones that do, I think that'll be a trend we'll see more of. Okay, another trend prediction is more multi-location wedding days. And that just basically means more of the we're getting ready at one location, then we're going to another for the ceremony, then we're going to another for the reception. I think these are more popular with traditional and maybe even more luxury clients that I've been working with. A lot of times people come from a Catholic tradition, a Greek Orthodox tradition, a Jewish tradition, and they want to do their actual ceremony in the church of their faith, which I really respect and think that that's beautiful. And so we have to account for that as photographers. They're not usually going to get ready there because it's like their options are a child nursery or, a back hallway. Like those churches are not set up as wedding venues. So then they'll be getting ready maybe in a hotel or an Airbnb, all with their friends or at a studio, and then making their way down to the ceremony space. And then afterwards, immediately heading off to more photos or a reception location. And so I think a couple reasons why I think this will trend more. One is cost. It would be more cost effective and less expensive to rent a reception hall for the less amount of time, right? Granted, like if you have a pretty exuberant floral setup or rental setup, then it depends on that as well. Like maybe it won't be a huge savings thing for you, but if you rent a reception hall from 5 to 10 p.m., that's going to be much cheaper than from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I think some couples will do that because they don't need all that time. Another reason is just people kind of, I think we're in this like season of people connecting more with their roots and their family history. And I think if people come from a certain background, whether that be faith or ethnically, I think people want to honor that a little more than I think we've seen in the past. And so if they're like, I really want to pay homage to my Greek roots, I want to do a Greek Orthodox ceremony. I think people are kind of moving in that direction of saying, like, this means more than just the formality or the legality of getting married. I want to really pay my respects to my family heritage or my faith and cultural heritage, and I want to do this in a very formal way. And so I think it's a fun way to kind of do all of those things by going to multiple locations instead of just saying, yep, we rented this one venue from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and it's all happening here. Now, I will say from a photographer standpoint and a guest standpoint, I think it's probably the best use for like user experience for a guest or a photographer to have it all happen at one venue. But again, it's your day as a couple. So if you are getting married, you do you. Like you pick the best system that works for you and that honors your life and your marriage the way you want it, and your guests who love you will follow. So all that to say, I think multiple locations will be on the rise. Okay. I got two more, and then I'll get to your guys' predictions. The next one is phone call guest books. I have also seen video guest books, and I think those are so cool. I really wish we would have done something like that. We did a globe. We found this like matte black globe from IKEA and had everyone sign it in like metallic Sharpies, which is still cute, but all you really get is like love you or wish you the best and then their name. But I think I've seen a couple of these phone book guest books. It's like a vintage phone. It's a rental service you can do. I think you just buy the phone actually. But you buy this specific phone. If you Google like phone call guest book, I think you'll find it. And then your guests can just pick up the phone and they'll leave you a voice message about whatever they want to say. And then you'll just have it. You'll have their voice on recording from your wedding day giving you well wishes or praying over you or whatever. And I think that's so special. Like, I feel like so many people don't delete their voice memos or their voice messages for that very reason of holding on to their loved one's voice. And I think it's so cute. So I think that's awesome. I think we'll see tons more of that. The other version I've seen is either a videographer or a different video service is walking around on the wedding day asking guests to contribute a little memento or just a little thought on camera about the couple. So the same idea, you get the voice, but also you get the face of your guest. And I think that's so special. So hopefully more of those trend. All right, my last prediction of something that'll trend this year for weddings, last dances. I love last dances. I love when couples do this. It's such a simple idea, but for some reason I didn't think about it when we were getting married. But basically, you just have the DJ do a last dance call, and it'll empty the dance floor. He'll say, everyone else outside for the sparkler send off, or the couple's choosing a private last dance, and everyone else leaves the room except for the couple, the DJ, and the photographer and videographer. Every single couple that I've worked with who has chosen this loves it and has no regrets. I haven't heard a single negative thing about it. Basically, you're just bookending your dance floor with your first and last dance, and it gives you a moment to like breathe and settle in and be like, wow, this wedding day went crazy fast and we just did that. And now we're here swaying with each other one more time before we head off to the honeymoon. It's so beautiful and so simple. It takes 4 minutes out of your day. And then it also is a great transition to get your guests to pack up and head out for a sparkler exit or a clap out or whatever you guys are doing, but it helps kind of get them rolling so that the venue coordinators can start to clean up and get you guys out and not having you have to pay more for overstaying your welcome. But I love last dances. I've seen so many of them recently, like very recently, and I think that'll be a huge trend this year. Okay, so those are my trend predictions. Let's check in on my Google form and see what you guys said. All right, so this one says wedding trend prediction for 2024. I'm hoping to see more unique renditions of traditional wedding events, like a piñata instead of a cake cutting or a slip and slide exit instead of sparklers. I also love seeing the mother and son and father daughter dances being done together at the same time. Oh, that's true. I've seen that once or twice. Things that are personalized to the couple always are sweeter. Wow. Okay. And that one's from Honest Hearts Photo. Shout out. Yes. Okay. So I have seen the mother, son, father, daughter dances done simultaneously, probably 3 times, all within the last 6 months. And I totally agree. I think that's a really cute way, especially for introverted couples or people who just don't want the whole spotlight on them or maybe have like a difficult family dynamic. It's a really special way to say, I want to honor my parents here, but I don't want all the attention on us or all this pressure to like do something specific. So I think that's a really, really cool thing to do. I hope that does continue. And then, yes, the more like less traditional things like piñatas or slip and slide. Oh my gosh, could you imagine a slip and slide exit like on a summer wedding? That would be so fun. I agree. I think those are awesome. And I hope people just continue to be personal with their wedding days. It's not about what is on TikTok, it's not about what you've seen on Pinterest or Instagram. It is about you and your covenant of marriage with your favorite person in the world. So whatever you want to do, guys, do that. Okay. The next submission says a wedding trend prediction, bright colors, activities in lieu of favors, wedding content creation, and elopements. Wow. Okay. So I actually know a wedding content creator. I want to look up her name so I don't totally butcher it on the air. But if you guys are in the Midwest and want to hire someone, I would highly recommend this gal. Let me see. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so it's Wedding Days with Dania. She's based in Columbus, Ohio, but I know she does travel. She is awesome. So she literally just does iPhone content creation of wedding days. And I think some people who were like, I really want a wedding video, but I just can't afford a videographer, this would be the perfect solution. Because if you think about it, a wedding videographer, like a real professional one, is probably going to charge anywhere between $3,000 and $7,000. At least that's kind of where my husband's at because he's got, like Hollywood grade professional equipment. And it's a lot to lug around. It's a lot to bring to a wedding day. You need at least 2 videographers. You're going to film all day long and then cut together a really gorgeous edit and present this really nice, high quality product, right? So that can be really expensive if you want really well done wedding film. So if you're not quite on that, you know, budget scale, but you still want something, or you really want a different kind of wedding video to go with your like formal videography, um, Wedding Days with Dania. That'd be the greatest thing. Or oh my gosh, it says in her bio, Danya. Sorry, Danya. Okay, it's Danya. Wedding Days with Danya. But that would be a great option for people who maybe love to do content creation. Maybe you're a influencer or you have like a side hustle of being like a personal blogger or you are a YouTuber or just really want to have some fun content to share on your social media because we are in a social media age. I think this would be the perfect option to kind of, pin some of those TikToks that you love or pin some inspo and reach out to Danya for your wedding content. Okay, what was the other thing on there? Oh, activities in lieu of favors. Yes, I do feel like wedding favors are really dying out. I haven't seen one in a long time, honestly. I've seen like little goodie bags at the dessert table, but I really haven't seen like a real wedding favor in a long time. So I think activities is also a great one. I was just at a wedding a week or 2 ago at Jorgensen Farms in Ohio, which is just a stunning venue. But the couple was so sweet. They had activity packs and coloring books for all the kids. So they like already knew that they were going to have some kids there and wanted to love on them and gave them, crayons and coloring books and like a crossword and all these super cute things to do on their wedding day. And I was like, that is so smart because now the kids don't have to sit there through this long reception and dinner. It was so special. So I was like, wow, that's adorable. Okay. Another one of you submitted bows. Simple, modern, and minimalist. Okay, I'm going to do a hot take on this. I actually feel like bows are getting out of trend. I think they had their peak in 2023, and I think we're on the other side of it being a trend. But I do think some people who have this as a personal style thing or just really like bows in like subtle ways, like maybe on the shoes or the back of the dress, I think that will continue to be what people want it to be. But as far as like a ton of bows in hair or huge, gigantic bows on like purses and flowers like we saw last year, I don't think that's going to trend this year, but I could be wrong. Okay. The last submission from you guys is from Brooke at I am Brooke St. Jacques. Jacques. I am Brooke St. Jacques. I forgot how to pronounce your last name, Brooke. I'm sorry. Um, but this is from Brooke. Her prediction is, I feel like there will be brighter colors incorporated in more weddings this year. Millennials are all about neutrals, but Gen X is coming with their bright, beautiful selves. If not this year, definitely in the coming years. I agree. I definitely think color is on the rise, even though I just shot the first 4 weddings of my year were all white, cream, and green. Very minimal, but I do think color is on the rise for sure. And I feel like I'm ready for it. I feel like in fashion, I'm leaning more to colorful pieces. In my photography, I'm really like seeking more color, whether that's just pops of that periwinkle or blue or iridescent light or pink. Like I'm really looking for more color anyway. I think we're all ready. I think it's a sign of life. So I think you're right. I think you're onto something, and I would love to see color trend in weddings this year. So, yes, okay, that's it for today, guys. I hope if you are getting married, that this was helpful to see kind of what predictions we've got going for 2024. Maybe get ahead of a trend if you've got your eye on something. But also at the end of the day, guys, you know my thoughts on trends. They're just that they come and go. It's in for one season, then it's out for another. Don't plan your whole wedding based on a trend, but it is always fun just to kind of see what people do and from an anthropological standpoint map out some human patterns and see what the humans are up to in 2024. So I'm excited for this wedding year. It's going to be a good one and it's already started, which is crazy. But I hope you have a great day wherever you are listening to this from. Thanks for tuning in and we will see you guys next week. Bye.